Welcome to Rambling of a Madman. In this episode, I will be rambling on about the space race. Of course, this is more than halfway through 2020, and I'm not talking about the space race which was there during the Cold War era. It's the new space race that is being unfolded in front of us, though we don't actually see it as a space race with all the problems that are happening in 2020. I find it interesting that companies like SpaceX are continuing their missions, as well as other countries like China are continuing their space missions without any delay or without uh, actually the things that are happening around the world does not affect their plans to move forward. This got me thinking, why is this so important for humanity and the society? What are we going to do next in space? What are our goals? Or to put it in another way, what are we racing towards? And the the most uh, important thing, if you read or if you look into the new era of space travel, the most important thing is resources, and it comes under the name of space mining, or they say asteroid mining. Whatever it is end of the day hunting for resources, new and scarce resources that will bring in profits well over trillions. And most of the people say that when this happens, when space mining begins, the world's first trillionaires will be created. And who doesn't want to be a trillionaire? I think it is safe to say, after the Cold War era, we came to a dull or a stagnated position when coming into space travel. United States and Russia, who was leading the charge in space travel, get into good terms and went on a neutral way because of economic conditions and lack of competition. These two behemoths of space travel went to have a neutral and very tamed way of um, approaching the space. But the past few years, not even the decade, the past few years, things changed very quickly and rapidly because of mainly billionaires like Elon Musk and other uh, uh, companies that are created uh, through lot of investors started popping up and starting their own space race on companies to go to space. Of course, the charge was led by Elon Musk, and today he has created successful reusable spaceships that are used to uh, bring essential supplies to the International Space Station as well as astronauts. So, in that sense, they have already started profiting or taking money out of this space business. While there are other companies who are also looking to invest in this area, as well as a new tourism industry which is known as space tourism. They are trying to invest on that side as well. Millionaires and billionaires who wish to travel to space and take a view on the earth like never before are are a market that is still to be exploited. But all of this is leading up to a very, uh, let's say, a new era of space. The buzz is going on about space mining, and there are many predictions and estimations made about the resources that are available in asteroids and even materials, resources that are available in the moon. And these resources come in the form of gold and silver, gold, silver, platinum, which are metals that are very valuable, then followed up by rare earth metals. By the definition of the name, it is quite evident that these metals are very rare on earth. But during the last few decades, we have exploited these materials to create the technology that is there today. Our smartphones, our smart homes, even our smart vehicles are created from materials that are extracted from earth, which comes under the category of rare earth materials. But estimations, tests, scientists all around has shown that these materials can be found abundantly on space, in asteroids, or even the near to Earth moon. And the way to go is mine them and bring the resources back to Earth, where we can quench our thirst for technology and moving forward. So the logic to follow is simple. Our society will keep on advancing through the technological boundaries that we have reached, and try to break these boundaries to move forward and to create new things. To do that, we have to have access for resources. The smartphones that are being built today and most of the devices that we use today, including the batteries that we power our cars and phones, laptops, and so on, are powered by, are actually created by a rare earth metals. So the demand for these metals, as well as materials that are being found abundantly on earth, the demand is very high, and mining process on earth is sometimes very dangerous, very polluting, very harmful for the nature that we live in. And most of the time extracting these are very hard. All of this makes them expensive. Where there's expensive stuff involved, there is a profit to be made, and this is what is driving the new space race. It is, think of oil. Whoever controls oil controls the economy, the world. Same theory could be applied in the future for whoever controls the markets of rare metals, and whoever controls space mining controls the future of the humanity, as well as the power, the authority of the future. Well, this is, though we think this is long time in the future, countries that are there on the world stage battling out for world power have taken steps which are interesting, we could say, to make sure that this space race will be won. One of the things that we can talk about right now is the space force that is being created by the United States military forces, the new branch of the military of United States. This is, of course, right now, maybe it doesn't make any sense, but this is a clear indication that United States is willing to put their might and power to protect the rights in space and assets in space when it is needed. And creating such a force right now will allow them to have a mature force in the future when actual mining takes place. Because one of the things that we can be assured of is it's going to be the wild wide west in space. There will be the lack of laws, and because it's a new frontier for humanity, there will be a lot of mishaps, we can say. And the other countries, it is clear to be seen, China is having their own space program which is running at full steam. There's India, which has quite a successful run in their space program, as well as we cannot forget Russia, who has the capability and the technology that is more than enough to compete with any other uh, uh, entity, a country or a company that is willing to go into a space mining race. So all these countries and companies is SpaceX to everything are in a competitive race. Though we cannot still see it, they are rushing to develop the technology that is needed to go into space and start mining. Because when you have the capabilities to earn trillions and trillions of dollars and increase the productivity or the technology that they have, everybody is running towards that particular goal, whether it is money or development of humanity. If you really want to see how valuable these asteroids are, a simple Google search, you will come across a Wikipedia page which shows estimations of how valuable these asteroids are, and you will see, even in YouTube, if you check, there are plenty of YouTube videos that will show how valuable these asteroids are. Then you will understand, where there is money, there's power. When there's power, there's money, and all the countries that are looking to gain power is on this race, and all the people who are looking for wealth, from the stock markets to speculators to hedge fund managers to Elon Musks of the world, are looking to capitalize on this opportunity. And the numbers show trillions and trillions, going up to quadrillions of dollars of resources. But thinking of such a situation, that going to space, mining asteroids, bringing them back to Earth, there will be other complications. There will be lot of things that we think and we don't think of, that can go right and that can go wrong. When I say that can go right and wrong, that can go extremely right or go extremely wrong. I think these companies and these countries should think of these sectors as well. For things to go extremely right, then I think the thing that we should look at is what will go extremely wrong and try not to do that. Well, at least bad things will not happen. That means the only option that can be taken is everything going right, isn't it? So, looking at these things, what I think that can go wrong is, the most obvious one is the creation of Space Force and the implementation of it. This shows one thing, that countries, of course, if United States is creating such a force, that means other countries like Russia, China are going to follow through, and this means that countries are preparing to use force to protect or to maybe show their power in a lawless land which is the space, and the lack of law and agreements of space, how property is going to be divided, and things like that, who owns what, things like that, will eventually lead to devastating results such as wars or any bad thing, and whatever goes wrong in space will go wrong horribly. So when you have the very first stages of space travel, I don't think we will have ships that will be capable of resisting bullets or any espionage attempts. So there is quite a possibility that mutual destruction would be there, and this whole space race could go back few decades due to such events. And I think countries should come into agreements and settlements before before starting the new space race for a new frontier. Laws that are needed for mining and property owning in space should be implemented, and all countries should agree on these things, so conflict can be minimized to the maximum, which will help humanity in whole, and to maybe stop the next world war from happening. I think that is very important. We actually don't know how the agreements will fall through, because political pressure from the society itself will not be there in the first stages of this race, and the politicians, authorities, and private companies, private entities that are involved in this would shape if law is created, will shape the first steps, the first rule book for space, and anything that is involving space mining and the property that is owned in the space. But it would be fair or unfair, it is the future to judge, but at least if there's a rule book, a way of doing things, then conflict can be avoided, and that will be a great advantage for humanity when going into the future. Well, the next one would be the technology that is needed to mine these asteroids or even the moon. Right now, the moon is the most feasible place to mine and to start to create base camps, the closest, the easiest to travel, and so on. To travel far into the space, the deep space, is and go to asteroids, target them, either bring them back to Earth in a whole as a whole, or just start mining there itself and bringing in the mined materials into Earth, will need a tremendous amount of technology, which is not there at the moment. The main problem is the time that takes to reach these asteroids and bring them back. Though in a galactic sense they are very close by, in the speed where humans can travel, it's very far away, meaning that for a single exploration 2-3 years will be consumed, and that is one of the places that technology have to be developed. Some are coming up with different innovations like ionization and using that to propel, but there are many concepts that are involved, ships to travel long term and so on, using moon as intermediate base to launch. It's much cheaper, it's better, it's quicker to launch from there, using resources in the moon to create propellant that is needed, so on and so on. Most of these ideas, these machines, these technologies are in conceptual stage or in a primal stage of testing. So there is a long way to go. So that would play as an advantage in the future, because new technologies will be created. But for now, one of the problems that we are facing is the time that is being consumed to travel and the technologies that are needed to handle all this equipment and everything, and even in travel, the vehicles that we need to do the traveling and everything. The technology that is needed is still in a primal level, but in a rapid growth. So in the future we would see news coming out that will be a positive in nature for asteroid mining and mining overall. But for now this is a negative point at the moment. Well, another thing that is there is that we are going to go and mine alien matter, isn't it? We will go to asteroids and we will start mining from there. But if you look into the theory as like panspermia, the theory goes that living beings, cellular organisms that can survive in very harsh conditions, staying in asteroids, were brought to Earth by asteroids crashing in, and those are the living organisms that actually started life on Earth. This is the theory, and one of the theories that has been accepted widely by the scientific community, how life started on Earth. And that brings to a very important point. We don't know what living organisms, they don't need to be alien beings from movies, but they can be cellular organisms that would be living in and would be harmful for human beings. Contamination is a big issue, and bringing in foreign materials outside of Earth into Earth, we don't know how it would react or what it will bring, and there should be proper procedures that should be there in place to quarantine these newly bought in materials, and there are a lot of scientific aspects that needed to be done when these materials are bought in. and we have to make sure that if different companies or different countries are going to launch their own projects, each country should have a seal tight proper method of handling with these materials which can possibly be contaminated. So for humanity, this would be a big threat, because in 2020 we know what even a virus uh, that has a low percentage of dead, 1%, can wreak havoc over the human society, and we don't know what will be there in the space itself. The next virus, most probably that we won't even have uh, the, the solutions to kill it or destroy it or resolve it, will come from space. So this is a real possibility. It's a threat to humanity, and whatever the materials that are brought from space should be handled with much care. Then of course comes the other problem that we will face. It's the economy itself. This comes in two parts. One of it is the economy that is needed to carry out such a large mission. The economy should be strong enough, and the society, the country, or the economy would be willing enough to invest enough for such a big project. That would be the number one. So there will be much more complications. Of course, nothing will happen on budget. It will always go over budget, and investors would be looking into returns to cover up the cost. That is one thing. The profits, that whole area is one place. The other one would be, if most probably this mining process will be carried out to obtain in rare earth materials and valuable metals such as gold, silver and platinum. The reason that all these rare earth materials or gold, platinum, silver or any other material which is expensive is they are not abundant in earth and very hard to find and hard to come by. This is one of the reasons that these are expensive. And if there is a excess amount of these things available on earth brought from space, rather than keeping the numbers up, there will be a high possibility that there will be a fall in these values, which will again bring to an economic problem, because the investors will not be able to reap profit out of this if the scenario is like that. But this can be addressed the same way that is diamonds were addressed, because by artificially controlling the amount that is available in the market. Then there will be the other thing. If the prices doesn't drop in the very first stages, because these are very highly expensive, if to bring in from space into earth, it would be way overpriced, meaning that companies that are using these materials to build their products will not look forward to buying them in bulk in the first days of mining, which will again put the economics of mining into jeopardy. But we don't know what will the future hold. Of course, the marketing departments of these companies and everybody who's involved in this will find a way, as always, to balance out the amounts and try to rake out profit. After all, this whole process is about raking out profit. If somebody is thinking that Elon Musk is going to increase the stock prices or the value of SpaceX by colonizing in Mars, that would be just a myth. either resources or something valuable should be created and added to increase the value. So whatever said and done, end of the day, profits and share prices going up is the goal, and all the processes to live outside of earth and humanity moving forward is happening due to profits. People running behind profits, and this is a fact. So there will be a big economic balancing to do with the materials that are obtained and trying to keep up with the profits and everything. So that would be one of one of the negatives that we have to think of and try to make it a positive. If these negative points are being addressed, there will be a very big positive point that will be created. As always, we all know that the Cold War created a arms race as well as the space race, which after some time the technologies that were developed trickled down into the common society. And I think because this is also going to be the next big race, new technologies will be coming out as a result of this, which will benefit humanity. And we all can look forward to that side of it. New technologies that we cannot even imagine today, maybe because they are not still invented, but because of this new space race, one thing for sure, that if everything goes well, there will be new technology created and new new and improved aspects of technology will help humanity for a better future. Then of course, if you take the economy itself, if the economy was balanced and everything is going well, we will see our first trillionaires, and we will see our companies. If the private sector goes in, we will see companies that are valued beyond our imagination. Or countries go into this, we can see wealth of countries going into immense levels, and these debts of countries will be covered. Overall, if things went well, economy will cherish, and there will be a new breed of people who will find new jobs, who will benefit and earn a lot of money out of this. When the top, if the money is able to trickle down into the society itself will benefit out of these things as well. And at last and foremost, we are going to mine in space. That means we are going to have materials abundantly which are not available on earth, we don't have easy access to them. That means that technology will be getting a boost, chemistry will be getting a boost. Instruments that may be expensive today will not be expensive, especially when coming into medical and though very technology sensitive instruments, thus making it available for the whole society, and people who didn't have access due to economic restrictions will have the ability to access these instruments and can reap the benefits of it to their society, even when coming into smartphones and everything. The way we learn, the way the health sector is handled, the way that we travel, materials that are needed for battery to storage of electricity, for chips, for everything will be abundantly there, and we humanity will reap the benefit of it immensely, because technological instruments that we use today will come at a cheaper price, is if everything goes well, of course. And that means that uh, uh, by using these instruments, we will be able to thrive and create digital economies, and create economies is that will reap immense benefit out of this. And the most exciting area is that we may find new elements, we may find elements that will change humanity for eternity. We don't know what will they be, but they will come with different properties for sure. And those properties, if exploited correctly, can give us technologies that beyond our imagination. One of the things would be if we come up with some material that will help us to store energy with a higher energy density. Electric cars will be the new norm. It will may help solar panels to be much more efficient. It will uh, it will chips with more efficiency and much more processing power that will put our technological instruments to another new level. Maybe some material that would defy gravity, and we will have anti-gravity available. We don't know. The possibilities are immense, thus making the a new discovery through space mining, especially a new material, would be the most exciting thing for humanity, because the possibilities are endless. So it is safe to say that future looks a little bit bright, but we have to do things, we have to do a lot of things as humanity correctly to go to that place. Of course there's going to be a space race. It will not be pretty. Governments will get involved. Where there's money, there's power. There's where wealth, power, there is conflict. So through that conflict, like the Cold Wars, maybe good things might happen in the technological side, that which will trickle down into the society, or we will end up in a bad place. We don't know. We actually don't know. But the new space race for mining materials will be the new thing, and the proof is there, because even through hard times for the society, the travel to space and that frontier is going forward without looking back or without stopping, meaning highlighting the importance of space travel and the new race that is being started in the space frontier. So I rambled on for a long time now. This for the new space race or space mining, the wealth, the power, the future that is there, the good and the bad and the challenges we have, were the basis for my ramble for this episode. And thank you very much for listening. Be safe, be healthy. Ayubowan.